Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Entitled Parents Reddit video. In our first story, an entitled adoptive mother tries to keep her adoption payments after kicking me out of the house. Let's jump right in. This happened 10 years ago. I'll have to provide some backstory to start. So, I'm adopted. My adoptive parents adopted or fostered all of their children. For all of their kids, they received some sort of payment for them. For the foster kids, the normal payments. But for the couple of us that were adopted, they received something called Post-Assisted Adoption, or PAA for short. PAA is for helping take care of any ongoing needs. I always knew my parents received PAA for me, and when the bump ups and such happened, for example at 12 years old it bumps up, and it gets cut off at either 18 or 19, I believe, or if the child leaves the home permanently, which is relevant. I knew that the PAA my parents received for me was just over $700 a month. None of that was a secret. Some more backstory. My parents had a maxed out home. As foster parents, they were only allowed 6 dependents living in the home total. A few months before this story, my older sister, who we will call Lucy, moved out as she was 18 years old and was able to receive a disability check enough to cover living expenses. We did not get along, actively fought, and honestly, I thought she would kill me one day, and we got in aggressive physical fights. When Lucy left, it was like a giant weight was lifted off the house, but as soon as she left, my parents got another foster kid to top it back to 6 dependents once more, since why waste the room and miss out on the money? I think that's enough backstory, onto the main show. In December 2010, not even a week before my 17th birthday, I got a call from my mom. I was on a babysitting gig. It was a Sunday and my ringing phone woke me up. I answered the phone, groggy, and my mom immediately launched into telling me I had to move out. I was confused and asked why, and she kept on going and mentioned how I had been talking about moving out for some time, and the person I had babysat for the previous night, Melanie, a young single-ish parent, had just moved into a new house, right? Could I move in with her? That would be perfect. I could move in with her right away. Mom, why do I need to move out? Finally, I was able to cut in. Oh, Lucy's pregnant. It was like everything shattered around me then. I knew exactly why I needed to move out. I couldn't live in the same home as Lucy ever again. Seriously, this isn't the normal sisters fighting sort of stuff. Something seriously bad was going to happen if we ever lived under the same roof again. So I said okay, and I asked when I needed to move out. She said tomorrow, which was a Monday. Then it's a bit of a whirlwind of a week. I talked to Melanie right away, told her the situation. She took a couple hours, but then agreed to let me live with her and her new boyfriend in the house, and we agreed on $300 a month in rent. And then, all the babysitting they could ever want, lol. On Monday, I failed my driver's test due to the stress of being kicked out of my home so suddenly. Monday night, one of my friends drove me to my parents' house. Lucy was already there, glaring, ready to pick a fight, but I had my friend come in with me. My parents handed me a couple garbage bags, didn't even offer me dinner, didn't say anything to me really, just acted like things were normal. I shoved all my stuff I could bring into those 2 garbage bags and then loaded them into my friend's car, and we drove back to Melanie's, who set me up in their spare bedroom. All week, I researched and signed myself up for as many gigs as possible so I could earn money. Our school paid scorekeepers, reaching out to other people I babysat for, etc. Anything to earn money. On Friday, my mom texted me saying she had my birthday present. Hoping it was something helpful for me, considering the stress of the week, I met her between classes when she stopped by the school. It was a hair straightener, literally not even on the top 100 list of priorities for me, considering I didn't even straighten my hair anyways, not since Lucy had destroyed my last one in the summer. After assessing my situation, I realized that while $300 rent wasn't a lot of money, I was going to school full-time and I still needed to pay for food for myself as well, and without a proper full-time job, I was going to have some trouble not being stressed. I also remembered something. my parents received PAA for me, $700 a month. That would be more than enough to cover my expenses and let me continue to mostly focus on my schooling and leave me extra to continue saving to go to university. So I asked my mother, and she was mad I even suggested it. At first, since it was December, she said that the $700 had already been spent on driving lessons for me on my birthday present and Christmas presents, so they could not give that month's check to me. Sad, but understanding, I accepted that. Funny note, while I did go back for Christmas, I don't believe I received anything for Christmas presents. It was a decade ago, so I don't really remember, but I do remember being somewhat devastated because my parents mentioned being so strapped for cash, and then for Christmas, they bought whatever the newest Xbox was with Kinect, if that was a thing back then. Or maybe it was a bunch of games. Honestly, I can't remember, but I remember them having a very expensive Christmas and I was just depressed. Also, I discovered that Lucy had destroyed the last few things I had forgotten to bring in my initial sweep, so that sucked. In January, I asked my mom again for the money. It didn't make sense for her to keep getting it past January, right? She was officially done paying for anything related to me, and I'd been moved out for a month. Oh no, you think I just kicked a dog? She was so mad at me. She told me that PAA was her reward for having to raise me and that she deserved to keep it. I told her that no, that was not true. I knew for a fact what it was actually for, and that, rationally, if I was no longer living in the home, that I should be the one to start receiving it. Nope, she would not stand for such an idea. She ended up reaching out to one of her social worker friends in January and told them a twisted version of the events, that as soon as I had heard that Lucy was moving back home, I had refused to live there anymore and ran away. Honestly, I was a bit devastated about the whole thing. My mom literally kicks me out and then refuses to help me out at all. I wasn't even asking for the full $700 anymore. I was asking for a partial amount even, but no. She was refusing. So then I got a bit vindictive and angry, pulled the whole, if I can't have it, no one can card. See, the social worker's response told me something very useful. I had been gone over around 6 weeks at this point, so then the ministry should know, right? I don't remember the timeline super well. I think I may have not gotten to it until February, asking one more time and being refused once more, before giving up even trying to negotiate. Instead, I talked to a youth center in town that dealt with kids in situations similar to my own, kids who couldn't live with their family for one reason or another. I explained that I genuinely felt unsafe moving back home, and that it was absolutely not an option. And so they helped me draw up a youth agreement and notify the ministry that I was no longer living at home. When my mom found this out, she immediately changed her tune, started begging me to come and live back home and that they'd figure out another option. The option that they figured should work was that Lucy could live on their property in a trailer, and that would make it so that she wasn't a dependent either and things would be fine with the 6 kids rule or something. Which is dumb, because Lucy actually did that for about the last few months to a year before she moved out originally, and that still didn't stop Lucy from being an absolute terror. Nope, I put my foot down. She may have kicked me out, but I decided that I was staying moved out. I never got proper confirmation that the PAA payments cut out for her, but a couple years later when I was trying to discuss it with her, she did say that they cut out right away once the ministry was notified. I don't know if she was being honest or not, but I sure hope so. Either way, another aspect of the youth agreement was that she now had to pay me money to stay moved out. Not a lot, only $200 a month, but it was something. There was no possibility of them forcing me back home this way either. I got to stay living away from them. As for the payments, I only remember them making the payments maybe 2 or 3 months total, despite the fact that I think they were supposed to pay me until I was at least 18. Honestly, I didn't care. In the end, it was a win in my books. I got a job working at a thrift store and worked it out with my C-block teacher to leave class early every day to make it to my job. My parents refused to help me with anything. My entire senior year was an uphill battle. Oh, I think I remember why I ended up being okay with the amount of the missed payments. They gave me my brother's old car, probably worth at most $1,000. 'Twas a beater. So I had to learn how to drive that, and in the end I think we just called it even, since that was easier to do than continue fighting about it. And since they were playing nice to me in general, I decided not to get the youth center involved again. Quite a few years later, I came across someone who worked for the youth agreement people, probably at the same time as I'd gone to them for help. It was really nice. I got to thank them and their association for all they did for me. A simple thanks may not seem like much, but she was grateful because they don't really see a lot of kids after they help them. She said that seeing how successful I'd become and that it had helped me get into a better place was really meaningful for her. I am so appreciative of what they did for me back then. The help and resources they provided to me at a time when I so desperately needed help has made such a difference to me and my life. This is John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then hit the subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.